More people filed for unemployment last week ahead of President Biden's stimulus relief package. According to the Department of Labor, 770,000 people filed new jobless claims. That is up 45,000 from the previous week. The economy had seen a decrease in jobless claims over the past few months. President Biden's stimulus package extends unemployment benefits and provides additional relief to business owners struggling to keep their doors open. Joining us now for more is Mark Hamrick. Mark is a senior economic analyst at Bankrate. Hi, Mark. Great to see you again. So why are we seeing this trend of rising unemployment rates? I thought we were going in the other direction.
Well, I think our lesson of now 52 weeks of these heightened unemployment benefits numbers, what a shock that was a year ago when we saw that rise to 3.3 million. It's a reminder that we're not out of the woods yet. We still have a lot of work to do in the healing of this economy. I think the stimulus package will do a lot in that regard. We've now thrown about $6 trillion in total at the problem, and the vaccinations are obviously the other absolutely necessary part of the solution. There is a lot of volatility in these numbers on a week-to-week basis because you have people applying for the numbers, then you have the state processing and then reporting them to the federal government, which then turns them around.
Right. So there's always a little bit of a lag. So you say that we should see some improvement due to the stimulus package. How much do you think President Biden's stimulus package, how much relief do you think it will provide to the economy?
Well, we just saw the Federal Reserve forecast a GDP this year of 6.5%. Okay, that's pretty significant, and an unemployment rate that gets down to 4.5% by the end of the year from the 6.2 recently reported. The reason why the Fed did that significant upgrade in its forecast was because primarily of the stimulus bill, as well as because of the vaccinations picking up speed, as Chairman Powell said at his news conference. So it is this very virtuous combination that we have. And success tends to build on success when it comes to economic cycles, much the same as damage creates further destruction, as we witnessed a year ago. So there are a lot of reasons to be optimistic about the outlook at this point.
And Mark, it has been 1 year since the pandemic began. Is the economy recovering at the rate it should be? And what else needs to be done to ensure we return to a pre-COVID economy? I mean, obviously there's the vaccinations, but aside from that piece of it, aside from getting as many people vaccinated as possible, what else do we need to be doing? Now there's stimulus money coming in. What else can be done?
Well, I think, most of the reasonable steps by government, or the steps that would have been expected or hoped for, have now been taken. And I think this is the reason why the administration is now probably having some significant discussions and deliberations as to what they will roll out next. Do they try to shift the priority to a structural approach to the economy, meaning try to resolve some of the long-term challenges that have to do with climate change and the need for infrastructure spending, or do they try to shift to the president's hopes to raise taxes, because there is the piece that this does need to be paid for at a time when an ever increasingly portion of federal expenditures are just going toward paying the interest on the debt. And the way that debt and deficits are shaping up for years to come, you really do need to try to figure out a way to significantly accelerate the growth pace, not just in the near term when it is expected to outperform over the next 2 or 3 years. You need to be thinking about 5, 10 years out, and those are the challenges I think the administration is trying to take on. I think the private sector and what government now has in its hands in the sense of funding, basically all parties taken together are in a position to tackle what needs to be done. But let's not forget, 50% of households lost income during this downturn. There is damage to heal there.
And so is all of this part of why the IRS is extending the deadline to file federal taxes, pushing it back to May? Do we have any insight into why they made this decision? And will it help people who are struggling to get their taxes done?
Well, I think if anything, it's more about the IRS just needing the time to catch up. The IRS is probably the most unloved department of the federal government, and yet it is one of the most vitally necessary parts, because this would be the revenue or sales department of any enterprise. We need funding for the government, and the IRS basically captures that funding piece. But don't forget, through each of these stimulus packages, the IRS, which is underfunded and understaffed, has been asked to basically work more to deliver these benefits. And so it needs the help, it needs the time just to process tax returns.
And a lot of time indeed. All right. Well, Mark Hamrick, thank you so much for joining us. We always appreciate your insight.
My pleasure. Thank you.